Well, hello and welcome back to High Frontier. This is game number 6, which is the core game in all of its glory without any modules. And we are in part 2, which is year number 9. We did year number 1 through 8. And in years 1 through 8, I basically took a whole bunch of cards. I boosted a very light rocket up to low Earth orbit. The parts up to low Earth orbit, and I assembled a rocket, and I moved last turn to the cycler. So my rocket is sitting out there on the cycler, and if you recall, the cycler is an elliptical orbit around the Earth, where on the cycler space, that's the perigee, which is the closest that it gets to Earth, and the apogee is at geo. So we are going to burn up to the apogee. We're going to continue to burn up so that we can get to Mars. And that's our plan. We're going to go to Mars. We've got a buggy for our prospector, and we are going to land on Mars, and we are going to attempt to we're basically going to attempt to prospect over there and build a factory. So that's our plan, and we're sticking to it. So so let's just as a recap, we're at mass 4. I know there's all these cards here. Look at all these cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in our rocket. We got a solar sail thruster. We have our crew, which is 1 mass. We have a reactor, which is 2 mass. We have a robonaut, which is 0 mass, another robonaut, which is 0 mass, and we have a radiator, which is 1 mass. So right now, all we're using is this thruster, but this turn, we're going to activate our crew so that we go into the radiation belt, and we have enough thrust here, which is a 12 plus 1. So we're going to be at 13 thrust. And as you recall, we roll the die and we subtract our thrust from that. So even if we roll a 6, minus 13, that would be minus 7. And if the number is higher than any of the rad hardennesses here, and the worst one is the solar sail, but the solar sail is actually immune to belt rolls. So the lowest rad hard I've got 2 cards with a 2. So obviously 2 is higher than minus 7. So we are, and actually it is in the red zone. So we have to add 2. So minus 7, minus 5. Well, that's still lower than 2. So that's why we're going to use our crew. Otherwise we would have had to, it could have gotten ugly, and we had to roll for the radiation, and we could have lost some cards into our hand, and that would have not been good. So we're going to use the crew. We did move over into year number 9, so we're at 3, 6, 8. We're going to move into year number 9 right now. We didn't do that yet. There we go. There's no event right now, so I don't have to roll, but I am using my crew. And I am going to move into the radiation space. We are not going to move into a burn because I do not want to burn with my crew because the crew is, the crew thruster is a 9 steps of fuel, and I've got 0. So I cannot burn. I'm just going to go there and sit there this turn. And for my operation, I am going to look at these cards again, and this radiator here is a 2 with a 6 rad hard, and let me compare it to the radiator that I currently have, which is a 1 with a 2 rad hard. And so the radiation hardness is very low on the thruster on the radiator that I currently have. It does provide 2 therms, and that one only provides 1. However, my robonaut only needs 1. So ultimately, I think this is probably a better radiator than what I currently have. In addition to that, if I need a ton of therms, I can ET produce this thing, and I'll have a whole bunch of therms. How many is that? 6 therms of cooling there. Or I can just do the one with a 1 mass and 6 rad hard instead of a 2 mass. But this radiator in my hand is a one cooling therm. I like it. It doesn't need any support, so that's nice. This one actually needs a cooling therm, so that's pretty good. And the radiator can be shared among cards. So just because this radiator has 1 and the other card has 1 doesn't mean I need a card with 2 therms. I just need 1 card with 1, and I can share them. So this reactor here is really nice. Only a 1 mass, 6 rad hard, and it provides 4 extra thrust if it's in a supply chain of a rocket. So I'm looking, and for example, right now none of my thrusters need it, and this thruster doesn't actually need this card either. So I need to get ultimately a thruster that I can use with this reactor, and then I can go someplace really nice. So that'll be cool. I also have a couple of generators here. I don't necessarily need both of these. I like the 1 mass with a 5 rad hard. That obviously is pretty cool. It's also got the Pac-Man icon here. It needs 1 thermocooling and then this kind of reactor. And so this reactor and that radiator and this generator all go together very nicely. So I really like those 3. This one I'm not really thrilled with. I wouldn't mind getting some aqua. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell this card for 3. So I'm going to put it back down here into the bottom and get 3 aqua, and that'll be my operation. And I've done my movement. I moved on to the radiation space. So I'll put this in my pool, in my bank, which is at Leo, and that'll take care of that turn. So let's go here into the event phase for year number 10, and let's roll and see what we get. All right, we get a 5, and a 5 is going to be a, let's see, what is a 5? A 5 is, I believe that is a solar flare. Let's see here. Solar flare event, roll of 5 or 6 during red sunspot cycle. So 1d6 plus the heliocentric zone modifier. We're in the Earth zone right now. So that's good. Leo, cycler, non-soul belt spaces, sites unaffected. So we're at the site. We're not at the cycler right now, but we are at a non-soul belt space. So we are actually on a radiation belt in the Van Allen belt. So we do not get affected by the CME rolls. So we are good to go. We do not need to even roll because we're in that zone. And I'm going to make sure that is true. So I'm going to look at the core rules. That was just from the player aid. Make a CME roll to determine overall flare for each card. First add or subtract the modifier printed next to the heliocentric zone. Then from the die result, compare the result to the rad hardness of that card. Any card with a rad hardness less than the result suffers involuntary decommission unless shielded. Van Allen shielding. Cards located in the Leo or cycler space are immune to this event. Magnetic field shielding. Cards located on a radiation belt, with the exception of the 14 belts surrounding Sol, are immune to this event. There we go. So we are on a radiation belt, so we are immune. and that is great. The ones they're talking about that are not immune are the ones that are very, very close to the sun. All of these right here. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those 14 are not. However, you can see I'm on this belt right here. And here's the other one. So I am safe. I do not get affected by a solar flare, even though there was one. And I guess I can roll and see how big it was. It was a 5. But that's not important because I'm immune. So that's the event for the year. I'm going to switch back now to my solar sail. And so we're at a 0 thrust, but since we're so light, we're also in the Earth zone. So that's a 0 plus 0. But the rocket is a probe. So we are going very slowly. And we are finally making it up to Geo with that burn. Here's up to Geo with the burn. And then on to the L2 solar Lagrange site here. And that's where we will, that's where we could stop if we want. There are two options. Either I stop here and then I move along the blue and then burn here, get a bonus burn, do an air brake here. This is the bonus burn, and then go into low Mars orbit. And then I can either go to an air brake here, or I can go to an air brake here. And then this one here is a dust storm, which is a hazard roll, and I can land here. But I don't think I need to land there because I can explore with that buggy everywhere. So I think I'm just going to go to this one. I'm certainly not going to go on a lander because that would require fuel for thrust, and I don't have any fuel, and I don't want to do any fuel. So if I come down in here and do this air braking, if I do that air braking, that is going to decommission that solar sail. And this is a bonus burn, so I'm not going to have any more thrust anyway. So I'm just going to coast on down to Mars. Or the second option is to go here and wait, and then go this way to Lagrange, and then hit this burn here. But the problem with that is that out in the Mars zone, I am at a -1. So a 0 -1 plus 1 for the weight is a 0 thrust. I couldn't even move to this burn. So I only have one option, and that is to go direct route. So I'm going to wait right here because I cannot move. Well, actually, this is a crossing right here. So I can move right there and just wait. And then my next burn will go here, and I'll actually go down onto Mars next turn. All right. For my operation, that was my movement. And for my operation, I don't want to get rid of any of these cards because these cards are really good together. This is only 4 mass total. And this gives me a generator with a Pac-Man, which a Pac-Man, remember that, it can go to an atmosphere site and basically get fuel from air braking, which is great. These are all nice, rad, hard 665. So those are really good. Low mass. These all support each other very nicely. Yeah, I just don't see why I would give any of these up at this point. What I really kind of hoping for is some kind of thruster that needs this generator so that I can use this card to give me plus 4 more thrust because it's got this wrench icon, so it's a modifier. So I like that. I'm going to keep all 3 of these cards. I don't really want to. I really don't want to sell any of those. So what I could do is I could take 1 income, or I could take a card. I could take a card and then sell it next turn, and then have enough money to pay for one of the failure is not an option rolls. So let's see, which one, what am I going to do? Am I going to take, I really, to be honest with you, I really need a refinery, because that's going to be my next step, is to go to Mars and put a refinery on there so I can get a factory. Right now, I don't have a refinery here, and this card is not a great card. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to sell it next turn. So I'm going to take it. Let's see what the power is here. Aerostat sites co-located or adjacent to this card gain 2 in hydration for prospecting or site refueling. But I need a V site. Yeah, I remember this card. I think I had this card in the other game, but it was slightly different. Needs an E generator. This is an E generator. The other one needs an E generator, and it's a 3-mass, 3-rad hard M card. This one's a 4-rad hard, so it's actually a little bit better. Boy, I don't know. Now that I have that refinery, I'm not thrilled with selling it, but I do need a thruster. Anyway, let's move on. All right, we're in the blue zone. No event. This is year 11. I can do my movement first, but I don't want to do my movement first because I actually want to have enough money in order to pay for one of those failures, not an option rolls, because I don't want to blow up my entire rocket. Now I'm already gonna take a chance on one of them, so that so I can arrow break down, so I don't need to use a thruster. It's a little bit, obviously it's a hazard roll, so I can blow it up, but 1 out of 2 is better than rolling 2 times out of 2. So the question is do I just want to take an income this turn as my operation so I can have the 4 aqua to pay for it, or do I want to sell one of these cards? Well, I certainly don't want to sell any of these guys up here, but do I want to sell this refinery? Because this, on the other side, if I can get to a V site, this has got Pac-Man and it's got that scoop, which adds 2 hydration for prospecting to a co-located or adjacent site. That is so big. If I get out to some of these asteroids, it's going to be fantastic with a ray gun. Do I even have a ray gun? No, I got rid of the ray gun guy, and I have a missile and a buggy. It's so sad that if I just want to sell that. The other thing too is I do need more thruster. I do need a thruster that's going to get me out further. And right now this, and I also want to be able to use this +4 here. So I'm going to need the supports. So I need to find a thruster that can use one of these that needs one of these supports. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and, even though I hate doing this, I'm going to sell this refinery. Boy, that's tough, because a +2 hydration is just really nice. But anyway, it's 3 aqua. I'm going to keep 2 in there. Actually, I'm going to keep all 3 in there and pay 1 for the failure is not an option for the first arrow breaking. So here we are. we're going to go ahead and we're in the Earth zone. So we've got still a thrust of 1. Here's 1 burn. We're going to go into the Mars zone. This is a +1 boost. It's a Mars flyby. We're going to go here for this aero braking, and that is going to immediately decommission my solar thruster. So that goes back into my hand. And then from there, I get the free burn from the Mars flyby. And then I'm going to go into low Mars orbit, which is not a burn, and into the aero braking, which is also not a burn. And let's just hope I don't roll a 1. All right, we rolled a 6. So we successfully land on Mars, and that is our movement. We sold the card for the operation. So that is the end of the 11th year, and we are successfully on Mars, which means we get, that's right, a glory chit. So we get a glory chit on our rocket, and because we have the crew on Mars, and we are sitting on Mars. We're sitting on Mars, and we have a rocket there. And actually, what we're going to do as a free action, we are going to create an outpost. So we have this robonaut here, which needs a cooling, which we have 2 therms of cooling. We also need an X reactor. This is an X reactor. So this robonaut, this buggy robonaut, is operational on the outpost, and this robonaut is going to be used for creating a factory. I just need a refinery, and this crew is also here too. So everybody is here on this outpost. So we now have an outpost on Mars. So we'll go to year number 12. We have an event. So let's roll for the event in the blue season. And that's a glitch. Our outpost, though, is manned by a crew. So we don't have any glitch there. So we're good to go. No glitch. Nice. That was easy. We're not going to be moving actually, our rocket was decommissioned last time, so we don't have a rocket anymore. So, which is fine. We'll get another rocket going. All right. Our outpost. Well, I'm not going to move, obviously. Well, I could move. I could send the solar sail off again to Mars without a refinery, and that's really not good. But for my operation, I am going to go ahead and I guess there's really no hurry in prospecting out there. I will be able to make a claim on every single one of those things at the same time, since I'm going to use my buggy robonaut. And they have yellow dotted lines here, which means there's line of sight, which means my buggy can go all over Mars in 1 year and prospect all those sites. So I don't necessarily need to do that right now. What I really need to do, though, is get a refinery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and boost this to Leo for 0. And that's just going to sit there on Leo. And it doesn't cost me anything to boost that. But it does free up my hand so that I can have, so that I can get a card next turn. So that'll be that turn. And we're not going to move anywhere. We have an outpost sitting there. So we're going to go into year number 13, and the seniority chip comes off. So we have three chips left. As for our movement, again, we're not going to move. And as for our operation, we have 3 cards in our hand. And what we're looking for is a refinery. And there is a refinery right here. As for a generator, I do not have a generator on Mars. So if I take this refinery, it's going to need this generator, and this generator needs this reactor and this radiator, and the reactor, of course, needs this radiator as well. So if I take the refinery, I'm going to have to take all this with me, and that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mass, and 7 mass will put us in a scout zone, which is a +0. So that would be a 0 plus 0 is, and in Earth would be a 0. So that's not great. Yeah. So in reality, this solar sail is not really going to do me much good right now. I need to get a thruster. So I need to get a thruster, and I need to get a refinery so that I can get a rocket out there. And yeah, it's sad not to have a refinery out there, but I got to get one out there. So what I'm going to do is, since I need a thruster, this thruster is not really going to do me any good because it needs a bomb reactor. This bomb reactor is quite something. It adds 7 to the thrust, but it's 6 mass, and it's got an 8 rad hard, though. That's an interesting card, but I just don't think that's in the cards for me to take right now. I'm really looking for a reactor that needs either a generator or that. So I think I'm just going to roll on through these thrusters until I find one. In the meantime, I'll just be selling them and getting more aqua so that I can, use that to boost this stuff up ultimately. So I'm going to go ahead and take what is that? That's a card plus the reactor. So I actually get the reactor if I take this thruster. So I'm just going to go ahead and take those 2 cards and pay the 2. This is interesting. 0 mass, 1 rad hard. 0, 0. That's the same. It's basically the same solar sail as that one, except this one's got 1 rad hard. So yeah, not great. Anyway, that's the end of that turn. So let's go into here. Here's an event in the blue season. We'll roll. That is a 2. That's inspiration. And that means that we are going to take off the top card of every single one of these things and expose the next one down. So we're taking off that generator. This generator needs 2 cooling therms. This thruster is gone, thank goodness. This one is that reactor, which actually is that reactor there. So this thruster might be the one, even though it needs a bunch of fuel, but it does use that, and it's got 0 mass and a 6 rad hard. So this thing can go out and be pretty good. So that's interesting. All right, this reactor gets pushed down. This Robonaut gets pushed down. This refinery, which I really didn't like too much, gets pushed down. And this refinery is a 5 rad hard with a 3 mass, and it needs that kind of reactor. So this is a pretty good refinery. And we'll put the radiator I guess this way up. And we can do either one, but this has got 3 therms. Don't really need a radiator right now. I really do need that thruster, though. So I don't have any cash. I don't really want this. Well, I don't really want this or that thruster, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna sell this reactor here for 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're not gonna move. 1, 2, 3. We're not gonna move. We're gonna go into the next year, into the yellow season, which is not an event just yet. Again, we're not going to move. We are going to sell this thruster here for 3 and hope that we do not roll an inspiration because we kind of want that thruster there. That's the end of that year. So we go into year 16 and we have an event. We're going to roll for not a 1 or a 2. And of course, it's a 1, which means inspiration. So we're going to push all this stuff down. This generator is interesting only in the fact that it's got that kind of has this kind of support here. But none of my cards need that. I got rid of that Robonaut a long time ago that needed that type of generator. All right, we're going to get rid of this thruster that needed that support. This one, okay, this one's good too. This one's a 0 mass, 6 red hard. It's a 4-3 instead of a 5-4, but it needs this kind of reactor. So that worked out okay. Robonaut's gone. This is the 3 buggy. 3 ISRU buggy, which we really don't need because we already have a 2. Here's a reactor with a 0 mass, 2 rad hard, very low rad hard, but +4 again. The refinery, we got rid of that one, and we got ourselves a 1 mass, 5 rad hard that needs an X refinery. I'm sorry, an X. What is that? An X? I guess it's an X reactor, right? Let's see. Do we have an X reactor sitting out there? Yes, we do. We've got an X reactor sitting out there, so we'll be able to use that in order to do our factory. So the problem is we're going to come up to another inspiration, and this radiator also needs to get pushed down. And we've got a 2 mass rad hard 1 with 2 therms, or a 3 mass 0 rad hard with 3 therms. So that's our radiator we can choose from. All right, so that was the event. Now we're going to do our operation. And the question is do we take the refinery or do we take the thruster? I think we take the thruster because it's got this support, and I really need to have a thruster with that support. So I'm going to go ahead and take this thruster for 1. And if we look at the ET produce on this, it's a 0 mass 7 red hard, needs the same reactor and needs 1 cooling, and it's a 4-2. So that one's not bad. Okay. That is that year. Cannot move again. Well, I can actually move, but I don't have a refinery, and I really need a refinery to get out there to that site. So we're just going to go to the next year, year 17, no event. And I'd have too many cards in my hand to be able to take a card, but that's okay because I'm just going to boost this thruster up to Leo for 0. And we're going to keep that in Leo with the other thruster. this glory chit is now on the outpost with the crew. And I guess that is the boost that I needed to do so I can get that refinery next card. But here we go into an event in yellow season. Let's hope it's not a 1 or a 2. My goodness gracious, it's a 1. So that refinery, which is really nice, I'm not going to get, and let's see what it is. Let's see what the next one is. It's a 3-mass with a 4 rad hard that needs this generator. So unfortunately, we got ourselves a worse refinery with 3-mass, and that really kind of stinks, to be honest with you. So the inspiration did not help us that time. The Robonaut is not a good one. The thruster is decent, but we already have a thruster. The generator is a pretty good one. We already have generators, though. Reactor is a 1-mass 9 rad hard with a +1 and a 1/4. Wow, that's really cool. It's a bomb reactor. All right, the radiator is going to go down. 2-mass, 1 rad hard, 2, and then a 1/1/1. All right, cool. That's good. All right, so I guess that was the event. Now we're going to do our operation. And as you know, I need a refinery. The refinery comes with this generator, which needs two cooling therms. So I don't think I'm really going to be using this generator, but I'm going to buy those, and that's going to cost me 2. So now I finally have all the components that I need in order to go. So here's the red zone. No event. And now I'm going to go ahead and sell. What am I going to sell? Let's see. The thruster needs this guy, this reactor. And this reactor needs this cooling therm, which is great. This refinery needs this kind of generator. I don't have a generator out there. I do have a radiator, though, with 2 cooling therms sitting out there. So I need the thruster needs the refinery. I'm sorry, the thruster needs the reactor, and the reactor needs a cooling. I could use the afterburn for that cooling. The generator is part of the supply chain. The generator is part of the supply chain for the refinery, which needs a reactor and 2 cooling therms. I'm going to have 2 cooling therms sitting out there when I build that factory. And then the reactor is either a bomb or do I have a reactor out there? Yes, I do. And it's a bomb. So I really don't need this reactor for the factory. I need it, though, for the thruster. So these guys go together with my thruster. These guys go together with my factory. This one is a S. This one is a C, and Mars is C. So I could ET produce this when I build my factory out there, and that would give it 1-mass 5 rad hard, no cooling therms, with a Pac-Man and a +1. So that's interesting. What's the backside of this? 2-mass 9 rad hard with a Pac-Man +4. Holy cow. Well, That's interesting. Well, the problem is that neither one of these would be in the chain in order to get the movement boost. So in the thruster chain, because the reactor, this one needs a reactor, and the reactor needs a cooling, and the cooling doesn't need anything. So the generator's not even part of that. So the question is, which one do I want to get rid of? And since this one supports both, and it's a 0 mass, and this one's a 1 mass, yeah, I can't ET produce it right now, but needs 2 cooling therms. I've got 2 out there. I think I'm going to go ahead and sell. Now, the reason why I'm going to sell is because I need a boost. So I've got this, which is a 2. This is a 1. That's a 3. That's 6. So I need to have 6 aqua to boost up there. Plus, I'm going to need to have fuel. So this is going to take a little bit of time to actually get my rocket really, really rolling. And of course, I've also got the pad explosion to contend with as well. So I really don't want to boost it up there until I have to, which is coming pretty soon, because I won't have any cards in my hand. I can boost up the generator. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell this generator for 3 aqua, and that's my operation. All right, next turn is an event. It's 1. It's another inspiration. Rolling a lot of 1s. This is a dirt thruster that needs that type of generator. That's interesting. Haven't used a dirt thruster yet. There's a generator inspiration. There's a Robonaut. That's a 4 buggy. That's not good. Here's the refinery, which is a 2 with a 4. That one's a little bit better than what I've got, but too late. There's a reactor, X reactor with a -3 thrust. That's not very good. And here's the cooling with a 1 mass, 4 rad hard with 1 therm. Don't really need that either. Okay, that was the event. Now for the operation. The operation is going to be very simple. I'm going to go ahead and just boost up this 0 mass thruster, the 0 mass generator. Cost me 0, but what it does is it frees my hand up so that I can get more aqua, and that's really what I need right now. Is I need to get aqua. All right, next year. I'm going to take a card. It doesn't really matter which card. I guess I'm just going to take this reactor because I'm certainly never going to use it. So definitely take that card and pay 1 for it. And then next turn, I'm going to sell it for 3, which is a net 2, which is what I would get if I just did an income every turn. Huh. That's interesting. If I just did an income operation, I'd get +1/+1. But instead, I'm taking a card, paying 1 for it, and then selling it. I guess the only way it makes sense is if you get 2 cards. Let's just think this through. If I get something that has a support and get 2 cards and pay 2, then I can sell it and then sell the next one, and that gets back 6, which is 4 in 3 turns. So that's more than the income operation. That seems like that's probably the way to go. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this Robonaut along with the generator, and then we're just going to be selling those cards. So we got to pay 2. All right. Next year is an event, and that's 3. It's a glitch. We're on the outpost. We're fine. This one's in Leo. That one's fine, I think. Or is it not? Because it's a glitch. Let's see. We already discussed this and said that you can get a glitch on a stack in Leo. Let's see what it says. Glitch. Each player places glitch token on a glitch-free stack with most cards that does not have humans co-located. Well, that certainly seems like this is a glitch because I don't have any human co-located. I'm wondering though, I mean, are we able to get a glitch at Leo with like just sitting there with no mass or anything? I mean, that seems rough, but I suppose it's possible. Let's look at the events. Sunspot cycle events. Glitch event. Each place a glitch red disc on their stack with the most cards that have neither a glitch nor co-located humans. Choose if stacks are tied. If later in the game a glitch stack performs a glitch trigger, a glitch roll is made. A glitch is harmlessly removed by a free action using a human. That's interesting. Because what I could do, even though I have that glory chip there, and it's worth 1 point right now, and it's worth 2 points if I bring it back home, I could actually decommission my crew that's sitting out there right now, and then bring them back home onto Leo, and that would automatically remove the glitch. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and put this red on there, and I'm going to have a glitch there, and hopefully we don't trigger that glitch. Flybys trigger the glitch. Cargo transfer, site refuel, a prospect, industrialize, a delivery. Those all trigger the glitch. A flyby triggers the glitch. There's a flyby that I want to go through that would trigger a glitch on that. And then basically what I have to do is roll the die, and anything that is exactly equal to that die. So if I rolled, for example, a 6, I would lose my thruster and my generator back to my hand. So that's not really good. The question is, do I want to bring my crew out there to take care of that glitch? I don't know. Anyway, that was the event. Here's the operation. I'm going to go ahead and sell this Robonaut for 3. One, two, three. And I have a feeling that I've just taken way too many cards. But, live and learn. Anyway, that was that. And we'll go to the next year. We're in the red zone, or blue zone. And we're going to go ahead and sell this generator for 3. So we got 1, 2, 3 more. Now I got to figure out how many burns, how many fuel stops, and how many burns basically I need to get out there, because all I need to do is get out there. So we're gonna need to boost this. This is gonna be 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That leaves us with 4, and this thruster is a 4-3. So with 6 mass total, it's a scout, which is a plus 0. And how many burns am I going to need here? So I'm going to have 3, and I need, in order to get to Mars, I'm going to need to do 1 burn up to the cycler, 1 burn to Geo, and 1 more burn at the on the way to Mars, and then I'll have the flyby. Or I can go and bypass the flyby and do 1 burn at the cycler, 1 burn at Geo, and then 1 burn to go into low Mars orbit. So that's still 3 burns. So I'm going to need 9 stops of fuel in order to get there. And if I'm in a mass 7, I can count here 2, 2, 2. That's 9 burns, right? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So I'm going to need to be on 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will put me exactly where I need to be. So how many fuel stops is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 fuel tanks for 9 stops. So I'm going to need 5 aqua. I'm going to have to boost up with 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 5 aqua, so I've only got 4. So I'm going to need 1 more aqua before I can get up there, basically. And I can do that next turn by just taking 1 income and doing that. So that's my plan. I'm going to have the next year go, and there's an event. I really don't care if it's a glitch, because if it's a glitch, then I have nowhere to put it. Player places a glitch token on a glitch-free stack. So there's a human there, and that's not glitch-free. So it doesn't really matter. So if it's a 3, it doesn't matter. I really don't want to, I really don't care if it's a 4, because those are all 0 mass anyway. I really don't care what number it is. 5 is anarchy. I don't get my faction privilege, and that doesn't matter because my faction privilege has already been used up a long time ago. That was at the beginning of the game when I got 6 extra aqua. So that's that, and we're going to go ahead and take an income operation for 1, and we're going to boost up everything into Leo. That is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everything now is in Leo, and I've got a glitch on this thing, but that's okay. We're just going to leave this solar sail as is, because it's going to be too heavy to even do anything with. So my rocket mass, I said, was 7, but I must have miscounted because it's actually 6. So the dry mass is going to be 6. I have my thruster here, which is a 0 mass, 6 rad hard, needs a reactor with that squiggly line there. So I got that. This is a 1 mass with 6 rad hard. That is going to need a cooling therm. Here's my cooling therm. It's a 2-mass with a 6-rad hard. So I've got this thruster support chain, which is really nice because look at this. It is a 4 plus 4, so it's an 8 base thrust with a 3 stop. This refinery is coming with me as well because I boosted that up along with this generator that it needs. And this is going to allow me to do a factory when I get to Mars. So that is my support chain and my thruster. So my thruster is a 4 plus a 4. Here's the glitch on there. I wonder if it goes there or if it can stay with this guy here. Since I'm splitting them up. Let's see what it says about glitches and transferring. I think that it says the glitch comes with it, no matter what you did there. Let's see. What is it? What is this? It's a free action. Free action from one stack to a collocated stack. Free action transfers any number of cards from one stack to a collocated stack. Well, that's what I'm doing, from one stack to a collocated stack on the rocket. Dry mass cargo, refueling the rocket. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Infectious glitch. If transferring cargo and either the giving or receiving stacks are glitched, well, that's the giving one is, performing a cargo transfer is a glitch trigger for both stacks, and both stacks end up with a glitch. That doesn't sound good at all. The glitch trigger. That sounds like the glitch trigger is actually, I think, the roll itself. Let's just make sure that's the case. So glitch triggers. Make a glitch roll immediately before a glitch stack performs any of the following. Enters a flyby. Cargo transfer free action. Wow, that sounds terrible. Okay, this is what we're going to do instead of that. We're going to have everything here, and what we're going to do is we are going to decommission that crew. And I know that's going to cost us 1 point, but I think it has to be done. This is also a free action. A free action is a voluntary, during your turn, may either discard or decommission cards from your hand or stack. We're not going to discard. We're going to, if a stack contains no more cards, blah, blah, blah. So you can decommission, which is E7, and E7 states this. Decommissions. A decommission returns a card to your hand. Decommissions can either be voluntary, a voluntary decommission, or involuntary, like on a glitch roll or a hazard roll or a pad explosion or something like that. Humans. If your crew suffers voluntary or involuntary decommission, move them to your Leo stack. You may not voluntarily decommission humans, including crew. You may not voluntarily decommission humans, including crew, except in certain circumstances. See crew. You may not voluntarily decommission humans. Why not? see the crew glossary. Okay. So let's go to the crew. This card has mass, blah, blah, blah. It's human. It's used to defend felonies and fix glitches. It cannot be traded, sold, or discarded. Always occupies a stack. Never going to your hand, except during anarchy. Its listed faction privileges are active regardless of the crew's location. Except during anarchy, its listed faction privileges are active. Okay, you don't need that. If decommissioned, crew goes into Leo. Okay. Decommission returns the card to your hand. If a decommissioned human was carrying a glory chit, move it to your playmat with the VP side up. Decommissions can either be voluntary. Jettison, Phileas Fogg, build colony, and industrialize. Crew can only be voluntary decommissioned in the following instances: to build a colony, if you have felonious faction privilege. Well, wait a minute. We did roll a 5. We are an anarchy, which is absolutely 100%. We can be felonious. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. The fact that we rolled a 5 or a 6 allows us to do this. Otherwise, we would not be able to, because you have to be in anarchy. Wow. That's crazy. So we can decommission. Let's go back to the crew. A felony allowing you to voluntarily decommission humans under your control, limited to once per turn. So, this is crazy. It's hard to believe, but this is actually true. It says, decommission returns a card to your hand, crew to Leo. If a decommissioned human was carrying a glory chit, move it to your playmat. Decommissions can either be voluntary or involuntary. Well, we're doing it voluntarily. Crew can only be voluntary decommissioned in the following instances. Crew only. If you have the felonious faction privilege, allowing for basically just abandoning your post and having a new crew come into Leo. So that's what we're going to do. And the reason for that is because, well, we want to have, here's the glory chit. We're only going to get 1 point for it coming back. But the reason why is because we have to remove this glitch. Otherwise, we have to do a glitch roll, which means that if we rolled a 6, this would go back into our hand. 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 And if I rolled a 4, this would go back into the hand. So that we cannot, a 6, we've got a 33% chance something's going back into the hand. But we just simply can't do that. And if a 6 did it, that would be terrible. So we got to remove the glitch because the crew arrives in Leo, fixes the glitch immediately. That is a free action, I believe. Let me just make sure that's a free action. It's the first time I ever did this. Glitch repair. Discard a glitch with your human, including colonies and Leo. And that's a G and G7, which is a free action. So there we go. We did that. Now we are going to, the question is though, are we going to take the crew back to Mars and on to other places? And I'm thinking the answer is yes. So we're going to take the crew, the reactor, the thruster, the radiator, the generator, and the refinery. And we're going to leave this thruster sitting there on Leo, which we could bring back to our hand at any time and decommission that at any time. So let's take a look. We're not going to use we're going to make a rocket out of this thing. It's been so long ago. I don't remember if I did if I even did an operation yet. I think I took an income, if I recall. I took an income in order to have enough money to be able to fuel up this rocket. So let's just say that I did. I think I did. The thruster, along with its support reactor, is going to be my thrust triangle support chain. I'm going to turn off this scrolling thing. I always forget to do that. But yeah, I don't. What's this? Okay, cool. How much time we have? We are at 1 hour. Okay. I am going to do this rocket, though, and get this thing going, and then this will be the end, the last turn, and that's going to be the end of the second sunspot cycle. So we're going to go ahead and make this rocket. So I got all my guys here. Let's count the mass. That's the first thing we should do. Is we've got 1 mass, 3 mass, 6, 7 mass. So ultimately, we did get 7 mass with the crew. So here we'll put our dry mass of 7. And our wet mass, we're going to put these 5 aqua in as fuel. 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to make this wet mass go up by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are at a transport class, which is a -1 net thrust. Our thrust is a 4 plus 4, which is 8. -1 is a 7. And that would be our thrust is a 7, which is great. 7's really fast. So that accelerates very nicely. Should keep us very safe from the any kind of radiation. All right, so we're on Leo, and now I can make a movement. So check this out. We're on Leo. We're going to go up to the cycler, and my consumption is 3. So we're going to burn 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go into the radiation. And we're in the blue zone, so we don't have an extra +2. So we're going to go ahead and roll this. And we rolled a 6, which is the highest we can roll. The nice thing about this, though, is it's 6 minus the thrust plus the zone. And the zone is at 0. So 6 minus 7 is a -1. And nothing that we have here is a rad hard of -1. Our lowest rad hard is, here's our rocket, is a 6, 6, 6, 6, 4, 4. So the thrust really saved us there. So we're good. Here's another burn at Geo. So that's 3 more. 1, 2, 3. That brings us down to Lagrange point. Here's another burn here. That is 3. So 1, 2, 3. We have no more fuel remaining. But I have a roll here for an aero brake, and all I'm hoping for is no 1. That's great. It's a 2. Thank goodness it's not a 1. I haven't blown up yet. This is my bonus burn here, and I go into low Mars orbit. I absolutely cannot do a lander burn because I do not have enough thrust to land on a 10 site. I've only got 7 thrust. So I don't have enough thrust to land there. So I'm going to have to do another air brake. And you know what that means. Another hazard roll. Let's roll this dice and hopefully it's not a 1. All right, that's a 4. We did not blow up, which is great. And we have landed on this site again on our outpost. And we are safely on Mars with our crew, our different crew, and with our rocket. And everybody is all together once again. And we are on Mars. And that's very good. That's a very good thing. So next turn, we're going to go into the new year. And we're going to do some prospecting. And then we're going to build a factory. We're going to get some more fuel for the rocket with a site refuel. And then we're going to take off and go somewhere else. And we'll figure out where we're going to go. But this ray gun is kind of nice in a way because that would let me prospect multiple sites in the future. But yeah, we are on Mars and we are hoping to get a factory and a colony and be able to take off and go to other places. So this was a long episode, but I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll come back for the 3rd sunspot cycle next time. Thanks for watching.